Jess, I firmly believe that if we don't make time for our wellness now, we'll be forced to make time for our illness later. And that's where we come in at Nava Health.
Hey, welcome back to the Glow Talk studio. I am here with a longtime friend, Zach Dansell of Nava Health and Vitality Center, Chief Operating Officer. It's been a while.
It has been.
I'm so thankful to have you here and thankful to have Nava in my life.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
I am now a patient as opposed to a practitioner there. But it's always a lifelong
Yeah. How the
study
roles
of
change,
itself.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled. So, Zach, tell our viewers a little bit about, let's start with you, your story.
Yep.
How did you get into this in integrative medicine? And I know you're also, this is a family business.
Yep.
So I'm excited to share more about that.
Yeah. So my name's Zach, Chief Operating Officer at Nava Health. My background, my whole life, I thought I was going to be a professional football player, right? So my whole life growing up, it was, training, football, obviously part of, training is it's important for recovery, diet and nutrition.
Yep.
So that's always been a big part of my life. Was able to take my career all the way through college. I played at the University of Maryland for 3 years, and then I finished my last year, my graduate year at Wake Forest University.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah, where I was able to play football, but also start my master's. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it because, my focus was football at the time.
Yeah.
And I got my shot out at Green Bay
Yeah.
to the rookie mini camp. Unfortunately, things didn't work out there. I came home, thought about, did I want to keep going? Did I want to keep trying to get another shot? But in the back of my head, I had another dream, or another goal of mine was eventually to transition from playing football and being the football player to working with the family business and working with my dad. So that's,
Yeah, and he was always such a successful businessman. So that's an easy.
Yeah. So
That's an easy one.
it's he was my coach growing up, so he's always been a mentor, and I've always looked up to him. And at that time, who's my girlfriend at that time, who's my wife now, we were pretty serious. And obviously as a football player, it's constant travel.
That's right.
If I got picked up by a team or wanted to play overseas, then I brought that burden on her that I wasn't willing to take, because again, I had this lifelong mission. Eventually I was going to go work with my dad. So when I got home, for about a week, I sat around, kept training, but quickly decided that it was time to hang up the cleats and transition my football field to a different playing field. I've taken my lifelong lessons that I've learned from football and I apply it every day at work. My coworkers and employees, they they joke about it all the time because I'm always making football reference or quotes to football, or just how we run our organization. I obviously as a football organization, especially at the highest level, professional championship football organizations, I always viewed as some of the best ran organizations out there. Just the caliber that you have to have for preparation and how to prepare and how to just win in life, win in a game, just made sense to me. And so, I've just transitioned, I've taken that, and, my playing field's different, but I still feel that I'm playing. So,
That's
like I said, went into business then. That's where me and you met.
I think I started, like a year after you guys opened the very first location?
So we opened our first location in Columbia, Maryland, in January of 2014. Came over to Nava Health, and, Nava Health is very true and close to my heart, because it was founded and created inspiration from my mom.
That's right.
Right. So
because I know your dad actually owned a very successful business. That was not anything to do with health and wellness at all. But I did hear your mom's story and how Nava came to be, which I think is really impactful.
So, my dad, growing up, was always a successful businessman. Had multiple businesses, and the one prior to Nava was also a mission-driven business to basically, it was a debt management, debt consolidation company where
helping people to get
helping
out of
people get
debt.
out of debt.
Yep.
And similar situation.
Mhm.
He filed for bankruptcy at a very young age, and he saw that this was something that people needed help with.
Yeah.
So they went on to did that. They were that 1,000-pound gorilla in that industry.
Yep.
A lot of the technology and marketing that is used in that industry today, his company created and was a part of that whole change.
Yeah. I mean, he really is a true trailblazer.
He really is. Yeah.
And then unfortunately your mom was feeling real sick.
Yeah. So towards my later years of college, they kept this from me for a little bit, because I was playing ball, but my mom started not feeling too well. She stopped coming to my away games, and I always had something in the back of my head, like what's going on, and come to find out, right, she was just getting sicker and sicker and sicker to the point where she was just bedridden. So they did what people do, right? If you don't feel good, go see your doctor, right? And they listen to what doctors say, because they're supposed to be the experts. They're supposed to be the professionals. They went to school and medical school and residency for this. And they would go in, tell them what's going on, and they would give her a prescription. Hey, here, take this. This should help. But nothing seemed to work. And so they went down the hamster wheel, the pharmaceutical treadmill of just hop around from specialist to specialist, and the prescriptions kept stacking up. She wasn't getting any better, to a point where we the doctors was like, well, at this point we can help manage, make her feel better, give her some pain meds
but we don't have any real answers.
No real answers. And my dad finally said to them, well, I'm not going to take that as an answer.
Like, this isn't good enough.
This isn't good enough.
So, no, and I think a lot of people in our country are going through that.
A lot of people are going through that. Right now we are in a chronic health pandemic. Right. And so, they were traveling the country. They even, went out of the country. And again, they weren't getting the answers, and she wasn't getting any better. And, they basically saying, this is what her health looks like from here on out. And again, my dad wouldn't take no as an answer. So he took, her health into his own hands, and started doing research, and finally came across a provider who's actually our medical director today, Dr. Carl Lord.
I love him.
He's was just really starting to get into this. He'd been doing this probably for 5-10 years before then. He's a former OBGYN, and he was also a trailblazer in that industry. He came up with different techniques for different procedures, and he saw the change that was needed in the medical system, and that people weren't getting better. And so he set out to also on his own mission. But at that time he was still into it, and introduced us to his mentor, Dr. Patty Sangita, based in Orlando, very big at the A4M conference talks. And when my mom met with her, she did something different than all the other providers did, right? I'm going to get you to fill out this extensive medical history, right? I'm going to get you to do this extensive lab work before I make any recommendations, right? I want to just get the full picture of everything that's going on before we make any recommendations. Need the blueprint. And so she did that. And through FaceTime, right? This was before telemedicine. I mean, because we're talking about 12, 13 years ago. And after she got all that back, she was the first doctor to say, I know what's going on and I can help you. I just need you to trust me. I need you to follow through with some of these recommendations. I need you to fly down to Orlando. Even at the time, she couldn't really get out of bed. Fly down to Orlando once a month for a week. We're going to do some treatments. We're going to give you some supplements. We're going to change your diet, a whole bunch of lifestyle changes. And slowly but surely, she started progressing. She started getting better. She started, having more energy, could get out of bed, could do some of the things. And, that's where my dad's entrepreneur mind kicked in and was like, why isn't this everywhere?
Like, why don't we have this in DC?
Why isn't this on every corner of every, city, county? Like, this is what people need. Like, everything else wasn't able to help.
That's right.
But this was. And so he started asking questions, about how this type of medicine works. What's this business model look like?
Yeah.
And it's when he came back, and at the time, the debt management, debt consolidation company, like I said, they were the industry leaders, $200 million of revenue a year, and sat down with executives and said, we're going into healthcare.
Yeah.
Obviously, they all looked at him like he's crazy because none of them had medical experience, but they knew how to run a business. They knew how to do the market research, and they knew
systems,
and
right?
the systems, right? Because as a successful entrepreneur, he has a blueprint, right? Data, systems, right? So they made that transition where he sold off and liquidated everything from that business to go into full-blown Nava mode. And, that's where Nava was founded because, again, my mom got sick and he felt that part of his lifelong mission, he always knew it was going to be something special.
Like helping others.
At the time, he thought it was that, but then when this came on, he realized that this is...
Well, so, I mean, it goes to show it's never too late. You can always change, right? Like your trajectory can kind of ebb and flow and change. And just, I don't know, don't count anything out, right?
Don't count anything out.
And then that's where Nava showed up.
That's where Nava showed up.
In the DC area. And it's true. Like there really wasn't any other holistic integrative, East meets Western medicine in our area.
Right.
And hence when I found the job opening as a nutrition expert and specialist, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like I love the feel and the look and the whole thing, So I felt honored. I was very honored to be able to work there at Nava and be one of kind of the starting employees in a sense.
No, I mean,
practitioners.
Exactly. I mean, you were a critical piece to where we are today, right? Everyone who started with us and the journey that we've been through, what helped us to get to where we are today. Where we started at one location, then we opened up to 4 locations in the DMV to where now we have 2 in South Florida, 1 open in New Jersey, and we have a series more have opened up in Long Island, New York. Another one in New Jersey, 2 more in Maryland, Hunt Valley, and Annapolis.
And here in Virginia now.
And here in Virginia, we have
Fairfax and Ashburn. I love the Ashburn location. So kudos to you guys.
Which you're a client, right?
Yep. I'm a patient now on the other side of the table, but I'm loving it. My
amazing.
experiences there still,
But so I mean, just to kind of let everyone know who Nava Health is, right? Because we're talking about the journey and how we got here. We're a functional and integrated medicine clinic. Where our focus is on a personalized approach, right? Because not one person is the same.
That's right.
We're data driven, right? Because the data to us matters, right? We're not going to just guess at what's going on, right? We use the test, don't guess method.
I love that.
Make sure that before we make any recommendations, right, it's showing in who you are, right, in your lab work.
It was life-changing for me to go through the process even back then when it all kind of was still coming together, right? Like there were a lot of opportunities to learn about myself, my food sensitivities. And as soon as I really saw all that lab work along with doing the comprehensive questionnaire, my mind was blown. Literally. And then when I little by little, remove things from my diet that were showing up like really high on my sensitivity list and, helping to supplement certain hormones, trying different like micronutrient IV therapy, which like I had never done that before or even seen it available before Nava.
The traditional medical system, right? There's a huge problem there. Right. Now, it's not to say that there isn't a place for it.
Sure.
But it shouldn't be our first line of defense. Right. Because it's a reactive disease management model.
That's right.
Right. Where really the model should be where we're being proactive, right? We're being preventative. Right. We're focused on longevity, right?
Well, and getting the testing, right?
Getting the testing. Right. So again, people shouldn't be going to a doctor when they suddenly feel ill or feel sick because sometimes it's too late. Where most of these conditions are preventable.
That's right.
Right. 95% of our healthcare expenditure is spent on managing chronic conditions. I mean, it's insane to me.
It's kind of crazy too, because the insurance companies really are driving that. Right?
I mean, insurance companies are driving that, right? Because there's a certain footprint that they expect to happen, right?
Mhm.
They're a profit-driven organization that, you know, big pharma, big food, and healthcare, they profit off of illness,
Mhm.
right? So that's kind of where, you know, things need to change,
Yeah,
you know,
perspective needs to shift
correct. And I
to,
think
like you say.
focusing on proactive
Yep,
and preventative, right?
yep.
Because most of these chronic conditions are preventable, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about obesity, talk about diabetes,
Yep,
talk about cardiovascular disease,
yep,
right? That is preventable, right?
yeah.
Our genetics, can determine whether or not we have higher risks for these diseases, but our epigenetics, that's going to determine how our genes are expressed,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
we control that,
yep.
so it's
Well, and
it's re-
even all like the toxicity we were talking before coming on the show, like the levels of toxic buildup
yep,
and exposure is way worse than it was 50 years ago, even.
way worse. But that's also why you see all the chronic disease exploding,
Yeah.
right? And why we're in this huge healthcare,
And then they say, oh, just take this pill, which
right.
is it's toxic.
Which isn't a cure,
No,
right? It
no.
is something to manage,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of where the perspective needs to shift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I told you the other day, Pfizer has been in business for 175 years, hasn't cured a single disease.
It's so crazy to me.
I mean, it is crazy, right? We're looking to, these big corporations and our policy, leaders to help us with our health, but yet, nothing has truly taken place
Yeah.
or other than right now, right?
Yeah.
With the Maha movement, I don't know, they just passed an executive order a couple of days ago where, Bobby Kennedy is going to be focused on looking at what is the cause
Mhm.
of the chronic condition, epidemic that we're in right now.
Mhm.
So instead of us putting all of our funds and all of our focus on how do we create a medication, right? Or how do we manage something? No, let's
Mhm.
get down to the root cause, right?
Yeah.
What is causing these? So,
Mhm.
all the toxic buildup, right? Constantly being put on medications that aren't curing anything that at the same time, right? All medications have some sort of side
Side
effect,
effects.
right? So a lot of medications are depleting other areas
Yeah.
of your
Well, and I
health
mean,
and
if we
wellness.
go even one step further into like cancer and cancer research and like the classic chemotherapy and whatever, I was so thankful to have met Dr. Evan Lipson at Johns Hopkins,
Mhm.
who is really running the show on immunotherapy,
Oh yeah,
which is, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms. But like, I love the idea that you're helping to boost your own immune system to fight off the cancer instead of putting in a medicine
yep,
to try to attack it,
right. I mean, because
which then it attacks all the other parts of your
exactly.
body too.
Right. And I mean, but to your point, right? Our bodies are the greatest invention ever,
Mhm.
right? They are able to fight off
Yeah.
illness and disease.
Yep.
But if your body is optimized to do so, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
with all the toxicity that we have out there, it's going to be too hard to completely avoid. But
Right.
what we can control is our detox pathways,
That's right.
right? Doing the right things to making sure that all of our levels are always optimized, right?
Mhm.
So that's going to come to your hormone levels,
Yep.
right? How your thyroid's functioning,
Yep.
your vitamins and your minerals that you're constantly putting into, your body, what you're eating,
Mhm.
how clean is that, right?
Yep.
Making sure that you're eating true whole food diets,
Right.
right?
Because your body does absorb nutrients best from food,
Correct. Yeah,
not necessarily from vitamins, right?
correct. But there's obviously with our environment, right?
Sure.
The soil and everything.
Well, and this fast-paced lifestyle and
Fast-paced
the
life.
modern thing, and we're doing like 5,000 things all at once.
So that there's always going to be areas of opportunity.
Yeah.
And we want to do everything that we can to help assist and help people in their health journey.
Even as simple as walking into a novel location, they all look and feel very healing and calm, and it's a whole experience,
And that's done on purpose,
I know,
right?
which I love.
So which you should know because when you were with us, right?
Yep.
Every interaction that we have with the client
Mhm.
is part of the healing process.
Yep.
How they navigate through our website, how they navigate when they call into our call
Well, we
center.
know what stress does to us,
And we know what stress
right?
does,
So
right?
we want to try to keep
So
all that low as
every
possible.
interaction, every step of the way that the client's going through, right, is
Mhm.
part of the healing process. So we want
Yeah.
to make sure that it is best suited and best optimized to help with that. So
Mhm.
when they walk into a Nava Health location, it doesn't feel like your regular doctor's office,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
You see a huge, nice glass waterfall,
Mhm.
Nice green plants
Serene.
and
Yeah,
serene, right?
welcoming. Yes.
Nicer finishes than your standard doctor's office.
Yeah.
Because the white coat syndrome is a thing,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
and so
It's really
we want to
true.
make sure that we are helping with their healing process wherever they're
Yeah.
at, right? And it doesn't have to be someone that's sick, right?
No, that's
It
great.
can be someone who's just looking to be proactive,
Yeah.
right? Be preventative, right? Because really that's how medicine should be,
Yeah. Like
right?
meet you, the patient,
Correct.
where you are
Right.
instead of asking the patient like, well, you need to be in da, da,
Right.
da, da.
It's
Yeah.
it's not a one size fits all model,
No. No,
right?
that's right.
And health shouldn't be treated that way
No,
because
I agree.
every single person has a
Different
unique
DNA.
DNA,
Yeah.
right? And so it's been quite a journey from where we started to where we are now. We are super excited about where things are headed, right? We're constantly looking for the most cutting edge technology to
Mhm.
bring in, the most cutting edge
Well, I will say
diagnostics.
even like the last set of labs I did,
Yep.
I guess you guys had added on a couple extra markers
Yep.
for instance, limes.
Yep.
And my blood popped up a couple of those different limes, which I didn't even know there was how many there were.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, actually, I've been living all this time and I don't remember the last time I got a tick bite. It was
Right.
probably back when I was living in Leesburg when the
Yeah.
kids were really young, but it's still very much there in my blood.
No,
And I had no idea.
especially on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Lyme is most prominent on the East Coast, and a lot of people, because of they call Lyme disease the great imitator,
Mhm.
because one, providers, aren't really trained to spot or how to spot
Right.
Lyme disease. But Lyme disease, they call it the great imitator because it presents as another
Other
condition,
stuff.
right? It
That's
could
right.
be depression,
Right.
right? It could be signs of just cognitive decline.
Yep.
It could be arthritis, joint pain. That
Right.
again, it's not really being taught. And what we decided, at
To like
Nava,
connect the dots.
to connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
So we used the Western blot that you had done to really start tracking clients
Mhm.
symptoms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I answered that
So not only
questionnaire
we're
on the
using the
portal.
diagnostic, right? We're using a
Yeah.
Horowitz questionnaire
Okay,
that
yep.
also gives us gauge because again, the great imitator can trick the Western blot test, which when you go to a traditional doctor, that's the test that they're going to do, and
Mhm.
if only one or two markers come out as positive, then they're like, oh, you don't have it.
Yeah.
But the Horowitz questionnaire is another backup, right?
Yeah. So
That
you can
after a
assess.
certain score, right, it could tell us, okay, there's a good chance that you could have it, even though it's not showing as
Mhm.
present on your labs.
Mhm.
Um, the symptoms can help us to determine whether and this is where the functional medicine comes into play, where we can take it a step further
Yeah.
and do a truly advanced functional diagnostic test for Lyme disease that's going
Mhm.
to test for 16 different strands
Mhm.
of Lyme and co-infections.
Yeah.
Right.
So crazy. Well, I mean, another thing that this was back when I started with Nava, I went through the process myself.
Mhm.
And for instance, the thyroid.
Yeah.
I was totally unaware that I had a thyroid issue, that
Yeah.
it was just not performing. And even though on my lab it came within the like regular Western medicine, range of a healthy range, but the range is actually quite large.
Yeah.
And I was still symptomatic for it, which is why the
Mhm.
questionnaires and some of those, just digging deeper into symptoms or what you're feeling as a person.
Yeah.
Because after I started taking the bioidentical thyroid medication,
Yep.
I felt better right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
And that's the thing, right? It is, again, traditional medicine isn't really looking to at it as a range that we're looking to constantly have
Yeah.
optimized. They're using those standard ranges, and you just said it earlier that I think one thing to point out, right? When you go to your traditional doctor, right, they're looking at labs and reference ranges from
Mhm.
LabCorp Quest. Those are going to be reference ranges just on the general population,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So take 100 subset of people, right? And this is the range of those people, right? So it's not necessarily saying these are the healthy ranges.
Mhm.
This is just the ranges of the population that you
Mhm.
fall in,
Mhm.
right? So, and again, that's where we have a different perspective. As we age, you go to a traditional medicine doctor, levels start to decline, and your doctor's going to say, well, you're getting
This is
older.
normal
This is
for,
normal,
yeah.
right?
But you're like, but I still feel bad. Like,
Right.
what are we going to do about
So,
it?
and that's in functional medicine and integrated medicine, it's regardless of what age, right? They should always be optimal, right? Because that's what's going to prevent the future chronic disease, future chronic illnesses.
Or be able to perform in our lives the way that we are meant to, right?
Yep.
Like we all have a God-given purpose.
Yep.
And if I'm feeling like this, there's no way I'm going to be able to perform and be there for my kids.
Exactly.
My business, my clients, my
You know,
podcast viewers.
So it's it's what we do. Like I said, we're on a mission.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a huge proponent.
we're on a mission to Nava's mission statement, right, is to help people live longer, healthier lives, right? And we believe we have the tools to do that, and so we're out there to change the face of medicine and to help viewers, to help our clients, at least provide them with the education.
That's right.
Right, educate them on you have options. You don't have to feel this way.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
Like that is a truth when it comes to your biology, and what's going on in your body. And it's always good to have real answers, and something that you're really like physically looking at on the paper.
Right.
Like, okay, and then here are our recommendations.
Right.
Right. And they work.
Yeah. So not only are we going to do the test, right?
Yeah.
What's great about Nava is that we also, if we're going to be doing testing, if we're going to have something that we're going to be able to spot and say, hey, you have XYZ, we always want to be able to offer that treatment option for them.
Yeah.
Right. So that they don't have to travel around the state to go to different specialists,
That's right,
to different providers.
And you're making it more accessible to people, even financially,
right.
Financially able to pay for some of these services and have an impact as a result.
Because we understand, it's unfortunate, going back to insurance, that they don't recognize and they lack coverage in the preventative medicine space.
Yeah.
Because again, that's not where they profit. When they profit when people are sick and stay sick. We're in the business of making people healthy.
Yeah. Well, and this is why I think it's so important to share with our viewers, like that there is a change that's needed. And guess what's going to happen is once you stop spending money in that world of traditional medicine and you start actively putting your money into maybe a non-traditional method like Nava, it will essentially turn tables, right? In the world.
My dad talks to us all the time. Make time for your wellness now before you're forced to make time for your illness later.
Oh my gosh.
And the cost for illness, right, is far greater than what you're going to have to spend the proactive preventative methods, right? Like now, right? And making it more affordable because, what we do, isn't because it lacks the coverage, right? There is out of pocket expense for our clients. And so we do everything that we can to help make it more accessible.
I love that you do bill some of this through insurance. So some of the lab work and the blood work. And I think even my IV, a portion of my IV, depending on the insurance company.
Yeah, depending on the insurance. But definitely, if we're in network with one of the major providers, things like lab work, we're going to process their insurance. But then we also have, other options to help, reduce the cost, right? Different membership options that give you,
I love the membership.
Larger discounts off of different packages, supplements, give you credits to use monthly towards these services to, again, make them more accessible.
Yeah, I love my acupuncturist out in Ashburn in the location, and that's part of my membership. So I get to use her every month and only pay just, a smaller portion because my membership is, active.
Yeah. And the thing about integrated medicine is the focus it isn't on one area, right? We're focusing on the whole body, which is why we offer so much under one roof.
Yeah.
Right. You can meet with a doctor, you can meet with a nutritionist.
Yeah.
You can come in and get IV micronutrient therapy. You can do acupuncture, massage. You can do these different advanced testings to really see what's going on, how you can optimize your health. It's really that one-stop shop, for health and wellness. And that's one thing that we're going to continue to grow and improve on and to
and continue to I was just going to say to offer new cutting edge services that are affordable, right?
Yeah.
Like the newest one I did in Ashburn, which I love, is this ozone therapy, the O3.
Yep.
And I'd never seen anything like that. And I'm not sure that there's other places around here who are doing it.
There's not many.
But I felt great after my second treatment of that. I actually could tell a difference. My
Yeah.
energy levels went up, like, and I know that it's also a recommendation for the limes,
Yep.
right?
No, I mean, ozone is amazing, and just what it
for
can do
for your immune system.
to just cure your body, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's taking the blood out.
It's your own blood.
Right. It's cleaning it through a UV light, right?
Mhm.
Infusing oxygen into it and then putting it back into your body.
Yep.
You know, so it helps with mold, it helps with Lyme,
Mhm.
it helps with any autoimmunity.
Yep.
It's one of the most anti-aging treatments that
Mhm.
are out there.
Yeah,
Right.
I love it. I mean, I'm definitely I have another appointment. I'm going back
Good.
soon.
No, I mean, I think, anywhere, at least when people first start off with ozone, we recommend that you do anywhere between like 6 and 10 on your initial load,
Mhm.
right? Because obviously, there's a lot of blood
Yeah.
that you have to, be able to clean and
Yep.
do it a few series to really get the full effect. But like you said, I mean, after that first, second treatment, you're already feeling it. You're
Yeah.
already feeling the benefits.
Yeah, I'm
imagine what you're going to
absolutely.
feel like once you do a series of them.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I like that also it's like, the levels of the ozone are based on you, not
Right.
on just like a one size fits all.
Yeah. I mean, everything, it comes back to personalized medicine, right? Everybody's unique.
Yeah.
You're going to have a different protocol than I would or someone else, down to how we're doing ozone, how we're doing your supplements,
Mhm.
your thyroid medication, right? That's one thing that's
Yep.
very different. Like, I mean, you can get thyroid medication, synthetic through your traditional medicine, but again,
Sure.
going that route, you have to get the standard dosages and medications that are provided,
Yeah.
through a generic pharmacy where,
Right.
we partner with the compounding pharmacy where
Yeah.
we can tailor the dose. We can tailor the amount of T3 and T4 that you're getting,
Mhm.
down to the milligram, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very unique and personalized to you.
Yep.
Same thing with bioidentical hormone therapy.
Yeah, I love the
right?
hormone therapy. I
That is,
can't live without that at
yeah.
this point.
No,
I mean, I'm approaching, whatever it's called, perimenopause.
Yep.
Surprise, surprise. But at least I can do it in style and grace now with the
Yeah.
help of the
No, and
with
one
the
thing I
pellets.
think that's misconstrued, right, is people think, oh, that's something that I need to worry about later on in life when I get older, right? But again, that's not proactive. That's not
Mm-mm.
preventative.
That's
I mean,
right.
someone like myself, I'm 33 years old. I am also on hormone therapy because of all the training, all the stress from football and
I was gonna say
everything.
stress.
I completely depleted my levels.
Yep.
And so, what we do is to help supplement that
Yep.
because we know and we have the data that shows when your hormones levels are suboptimal, you open yourself up.
Yeah, because it's essentially the building blocks
It is
to
the
the
building
rest of the
blocks.
processes in the body,
Correct.
right? And I notice a difference, like when I can tell that my pellets I'm getting to the 3 months or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, okay, this couldn't come soon enough,
Yeah.
And the doctor's great because she's always asking, like, hey, how was the last time? What did you feel? We're making assessments as we go every 3 months. And then I come back, 4 or 6 weeks later, do more labs just to make sure that the levels went back up. I feel very cared for there,
Yeah.
and watched over, and I can't say the same for like going to a traditional, internal medicine.
And again,
I see them for 10 minutes once a year. Like,
right. What can they solve in 10 minutes?
nothing.
Half of it is just catching up.
That's right.
Right. So it's, you're not able to go in depth of what's going on, what's changed.
Yeah.
And, for us, right, it's the whole test, don't guess. Every time that you
That's right.
come back to us, we're going to get a new set of labs because so much can change over 3 to 6 months
Yeah.
that we want to make sure that we're monitoring all those levels because the second that one of them change, we have our eye on it.
Yep.
Okay. Let's monitor this.
And then I have access through the
Right.
back office and through the portal. Like I feel just very much in control of my body, my health, where I'm going,
And it comes back to the whole education, right? We
Yeah.
want to provide everybody with as much education as they can, and they can make that choice themselves.
That's right.
But we want them to know both sides, right?
Yep.
Not what they're just hearing from their primary care or the traditional medicine doctor, right?
Mhm.
We want them to know what they can do alternatively,
Mhm.
from a different perspective, and ultimately give them that those answers for the questions that they're
Yep.
looking for,
Yep.
and they can make that educated decision themselves.
Well, and I love, like, I could take those labs and just bring it to my traditional doctor if I really wanted to and have them look over it and be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Where'd you get these?
Yeah.
So, no, I loved, first of all, working with you guys. I love being a patient. I feel very just cared for, and I feel like a person, not just like a number or here's your client file number. The doctors, they know me, they know my story, and they also can really relate to and understand like the amount of stress and pressure, for instance, losing a loved one, my husband and raising 3 teenagers. I mean, I just I'm just always very thankful.
No, thank you.
So
Yeah.
is there anything else that's up and coming or that you want to share about Nava? Like, I know you guys have a lot brewing, so
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot, right?
it's so much. We could probably do this for like 2 hours at
We
least.
could do this for 2 hours. I mean, there's a lot that, we want to get into, and we will. But right now we want to be able to help as many people as possible, right? So right now we're in a phase of expanding.
Yeah, I love that you have other locations now in many different states.
Yeah.
And what a blessing.
It is. And so, we're going to open up more locations. We're going to bring on new treatments, more diagnostics. We're going to continue to, update and enhance, our protocols to what the latest data out there is telling us. Because again, it comes down to the data.
Yeah.
And that's how we make a lot of our decisions, right? What's being presented, what markers are showing, as being too high and too low. And we're gonna,
what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Right.
And traditional medicine is very static. Functional medicine is constantly evolving. And so that's one thing that we always keep our eye on, is that we constantly have to evolve with the medicine, with the data, so that we can continue to provide that optimal care, right?
Yeah. And like you said, like, this is the future of medicine. What you guys are doing, like, truly trailblazing, and showing the way. Yeah. So I'm just so proud of you guys. I know your dad is, both your parents. Yeah. They're just so proud of you. And just, I'm sure what you guys are bringing to the table with Nava across the country now, it's just amazing.
No, we're going to do it. We're going to change medicine. We're going to help so many people, live that longer, healthier life. And we won't stop until it happens.
I love that. It's just so inspirational. I'm getting goosebumps. Well, listen, I feel that there's a part 2 coming soon on another show. I'm really so happy that you could come out to the studio. What we're hoping to do is maybe take our cameras out to one of your locations soon, so we can show the viewers like how beautiful it is there and just the whole vibe. Yeah. So we'll have one of those coming soon. Maybe I'll be the guinea pig with my ozone therapy.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll get you doing a treatment. We should get one of our providers so we can go a little bit more in depth on the medical side.
Yeah.
On just how we view and how we do medicine. Yeah. At Nava, and I think it'll be a great time.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you, Zach, for coming out and sharing with my viewers. I can't wait to post this episode. I know it's going to impact so many people in a positive way, and I honestly, I would be over the moon to hear that as a result of this, that some of my viewers can come out to Fairfax or Ashburn or anywhere around the DC area and see you guys.
No, of course. And tell to your viewers, you can contact us or go to our website at navacenter.com. Our Instagram and TikTok handles are Nava Health, or you could call us at our main line at 800-762-6282. And we'll help you, walk you through the process and get you started on your health journey.
Yep. And if anyone has any questions, I'm a perfect guinea pig and proponent, so I'd be happy to share all of my experience with you guys too. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Zach, for being on the show. You can find Glow Talks with Jess, of course, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we are thrilled to have you here. So please like and subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next episode.